What's up, nerds? We're your hosts. I am Chad.
And I am Jake. This is our weekly podcast where we explore the world of nerd from TV, movies, games, comics, news, and books.
We will give you our opinions, theories, and oftentimes spoilers.
We will also have friends and experts as guests on the show to elaborate further on those topics.
But be prepared. We like to have a few drinks, so buckle up.
If you want to support our show, like, share, and subscribe wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
You can also become a premium subscriber over at buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd.
So let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. Welcome, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Now, Jake, I hope you had a good week this week, but let's just jump right into our first topic. But first, cheers.
That one got me. All right. Before we get into, let's get into our first topic. We're going to talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, now streaming on Disney Plus. What episode is this?
It's a good question. I think it's 5, 6?
5 or 6? Yeah.
I can find out really fast while you tell them that joke, or to start talking about it.
Well, this is, if you watched the movies or read the books, this is the episode in the casino, the Lotus Casino, where they're being date raped, basically. Well, they're not raped, but 6.
Yeah.
They're getting the date rape drug. The air vents? Wasn't it the air vents?
Yeah, and this one this is probably more accurate to the books, but I haven't read the books, is that they're pumping the lotus flower fragrance through like the ventilation system.
Yeah.
Which makes them forget, want to stay.
Yeah.
One thing that I do really sorry. One thing that I really love about this show just throughout is the way that they kind of reimagine Greek mythology for a modern world, which is really cool. Like the Lotus Island from the Odyssey now being like a casino. I think it's a really unique take, and I really enjoy it. People are going to be mad to know that they do not play poker face while they're in the casino, like they do in the Logan Lerman and Alexandria Daddario film.
Daddario. Yeah.
Still chose a banger. I don't even know what the name of the song is, but I was like,
Oh, in this one?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Poker Face. I was like, it's literally Poker Face. But yeah, got you. I got you.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks. I always fuck up his name, but Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
As Hermes, which is funny, but he's been doing some weird roles lately. I'm not hating on it. But he was also in, I don't know if you watched any of the his Dark Materials, which was the Golden Compass, basically.
Oh, right.
Like the movie. But there's a TV
yet.
series with Daphne Keane. He's in that as well.
Yeah, he's... I don't think he's a bad actor by any means. He's just kind of become known as more of a musician type of actor.
Yeah.
So when
if
you
you
see
don't know
him not
who he is, he did Hamilton, the play.
Mm-hmm.
It's a musical play um, Hamilton. He also wrote all the music, maybe not all the music, but probably all the music or most of it for Encanto.
Oh, that's right.
Hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's kind of a big deal.
Super talented guy.
Hmm.
So when you see him in a non-musical role, you're like, really?
That's right. He acts.
you, you can do one without the other? Proud of you. And I don't mean that like in a mean way towards Lin-Manuel Miranda. I think that he is a fantastic actor. It's just
Mhm.
always weird when you don't see him doing something musical
Yeah.
alongside it. I mean, even when he cameoed in How I Met Your Mother all the years ago, like he raps in it when he's on the bus ride to Long Island with Marshall, and the only way to get Marshall's kid back to sleep is to give him lullabies. So then Lin Manuel Miranda just like raps the baby to sleep, and then everyone like cheers for him.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Does he play himself?
I don't think he gets a name.
Oh, I think he must play himself because Hamilton has like rap in it as well
Yeah.
that he wrote. So I bet you, yeah. Was it a rap from Hamilton? I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. Okay.
But I mean, this this episode of Percy Jackson, to get back on track, um, it's sad to some ways because Grover goes off one way, where Annabeth and Percy go off another way to try and
Mm,
find Hermes, to try and get him to help. Because Grover's on his own, he basically gets swindled by another satyr to doing a VR thing, and by the time that he is found, he doesn't know who Annabeth and Percy are anymore.
mhm,
And they make a comment about it later. It's why he was affected more is because he was on his own.
mhm.
He was alone.
Yeah. And
There,
even after they leave, he's still like struggling to like put reality and the casino together.
yeah,
Yeah.
from the Vegas Strip to, was it Santa Monica or Santa Barbara? I think Santa
Oh,
Monica is the one with the pier.
yeah.
Um, basically until you get to the ocean front. But granted, it takes him like a minute because they steal Hermes' car keys,
Mhm.
and he's a taxi driver, which is just funny.
Yeah.
um, I don't, because I didn't read the books. There is some things that you hear in the background about like a character named Nico and stuff like that, which to a lot of the book fans were like praising this episode, where a lot of the movie fans were like, "There's no poker face," and it's like, read a book. I say that as I haven't read this book, but I guess that there's a lot of like hidden things throughout this episode for fans of the books, which I think is really cool. That they're, I mean, it makes sense. Rick Riordan and his wife are executive producers on the show. He wrote the books, so it's a good
Mhm.
thing that he's actually a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's leading up to something intense.
It's gonna be cool. And then was it? Yeah, it is at the end of this episode when they finally get to the ocean.
Hmm.
Percy is supposed to be meeting his Faja, his father. Uh, uh, and he goes in the water, and it is not his father. Um, that meets him, which is also depressing because he's kind of looking forward to it. But
Yeah, and it's he meets a siren, I think,
mhm,
is what they would have been according to mythology. Is like, your father has gone to Mount Olympus and is preparing for war because the bolt was not returned before the solstice. Here we are.
mhm. And they do. There's a brief moment. So if you watched the movies and or read the books, we already know who stole. Spoiler alert! Giant spoiler alert here. We already know who stole the lightning bolt. It's Luke.
Yeah.
It's the their
Son of
uh
Hermes.
yeah. It's the kid that they're like magic FaceTiming with on the back of the
Yeah.
truck or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, that's who actually stole it. And he's like, "How can I help you guys? Like, tell me like what to do." Like, he's the person who actually stole it. Um, so yeah, so just to your point where you're like the lightning bolt wasn't returned by the solstice, blah blah. I just wanted to add that little part in there that if you know, you know. If you don't know, sorry, I ruined it for you, but I did say spoiler alert. Uh,
And what's
that
the characters in the show don't know that it's Luke yet. They
yeah,
think that it's Hades
yeah.
who has the most to gain from Poseidon and Zeus going to war, because
Hmm.
for those that don't know their Greek mythology, Hades was the third brother between Zeus, Poseidon, and then of course Hades.
Hmm.
But Hades was outcast.
It's like they did that in another made up mythology.
Yeah.
Slipping my mind at the moment.
Yeah, where like one rules over everything,
And then
and
the
then
other one
like
was
one
there, but then it
rules
got casted out.
underneath. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's only two of them. But then later there's like a third one. Like in the second book, they introduce a third one.
It's like, oh, that was funny.
Huzzah! You know the sequel.
Oh shit.
Woo!
God damn it. Find our stickers online. It's called We're Funny, damn it.
Yeah. Go to allthingsnerdpod.com and pick up some merch, because we've got some funny shit on there. Uh huh. We are overhauling our store, by the way, for those that are still listening. About us, talk about that.
We're also dragging this episode out a little bit because it's been a slow week for nerd stuff, unfortunately. We have plenty to talk about, but you know, only
Yeah.
one show right now that's very nerdy that we're
Yeah.
actively watching.
But back to Percy Jackson. So what they've kind of been doing is, instead of doing like post-credit scenes, they kind of do like a mini trailer for the next episode.
I love that too.
I do too.
Yeah, like please and thank you. Gen V was also doing that. I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just like after like the first episode of being like still to come this season, like
Yeah.
they just don't say anything. They just show like little flashes, just enough to give a little bit of context as to what's coming, but not enough to give anything away.
Hmm.
And we're gonna see some battle going on here soon, which I'm really excited about.
Heck yeah.
So, if you listen this far but still haven't watched, but you've at least seen the previous films that aren't nearly as enjoyable as what this show is, or read the books so you at least know what's going on, so we're not spoiling anything, please watch this show. It is very enjoyable. I can't wait to see where, because there's only 2 episodes left.
Is that really? Sorry,
Yeah.
I almost lost my shit.
Yeah, there's only supposed to be 8 episodes in the season.
They're out on Tuesdays.
They come out on
Disney
Tuesdays.
Plus.
So the penultimate episode will be out by the time this episode drops. Oh, I'm intrigued to see, because there's a lot that they still would have to do to
They
kind of
have
keep
to-
up with what the books did in one, or what the
In
old
two
films did.
episodes. They have 2 episodes to find out who the lightning thief actually is and have a showdown between Percy and
And still go to Hades.
yeah. There's a
'Cause-
lot. Which means that we'll finally, hopefully in the next 2 episodes, but I'm assuming it's going to be a one episode. In the finale, we'll finally get to see Lance Reddick, rest in peace, as Zeus. But that sucks for next season because they're going to have to recast.
That is a bummer.
Yeah.
Go watch
Go watch
this,
the
though.
show.
I'm thinking that the next 2 episodes are going to be longer. I feel
I
like
hope
they
so.
kind of have to be.
I always forget that they do that sometimes too. And do you know, like, so speaking of lightning, there's this little packet that you can get, and it has a little lightning bolt on it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my god, you forced that so good.
If
Yeah, it's like it's
if
like
I
a
remember
supplement
correctly, it
packet
has
from Ray's Energy, right? Is that what you're thinking of?
that's great that
That's
you knew that.
so
That's crazy.
hilarious because they actually sponsor this show.
What?
Yeah, so it's great energy drinks with 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 crash. If energy drinks aren't your actual things, they do have these packets. It's got like an R with a lightning bolt on it. It's kind of doing the Harry Potter thing, but like in the shape of an R. Um, great supplements as well. Tons of plant-based options, which is super cool for our listeners that believe what we believe, that, let's not eat animals. But either way, listen up, learn how to save 15% on your order, and we'll be right back with you with part 2 of our new segment. Not part 2, but the second time. Okay, bye. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Ray's Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Ray's Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, empowered by their Refresh formula technology, Ray's Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Ray's Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
Okay, we are going to continue our new trivia segment that we started last week, and we're playing around with that. We're liking it a lot right now. This week is my week to ask Chad a trivia question. And if you can, try to guess it before Chad guesses it. If you get it before Chad guesses it, if he guesses it, let us know, because I want to, and let us know your thought process and how you got there. So here we go. Here's the question.
Okay.
One of the names I don't, I think I can pronounce, but I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right. So I apologize for that. But here we go. Here's the question. During the Clone Wars era, who was the specific Jedi targeted for assassination by Bossk, Aurra Sing, and Boba Fett due to their desire for revenge, a plan that was ultimately thwarted by the intervention of Ahsoka Tano and Plo Koon?
Oh, the specific Jedi is Mace Windu.
That is correct. Tell us how you got there.
Um,
And why,
well,
if you can. You got the answer right, but if
how
you can tell
I
us
got
why.
there was I just rewatched the Clone Wars series
I
a
fucking told you you were going to get that.
couple of weeks ago. I mean, right before the Ahsoka series came out. But also because of it being Boba Fett and it being a specific Jedi took me back to episode 2, Attack the Clones, where Mace Windu decapitates Jango Fett. And then after he cuts off Jango's head with his lightsaber, Mace like looks directly at Boba Fett and was like, "Sorry, kid," and then leaves.
So that would be the reason why. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's looking out for revenge for who killed his father / DNA donor, because he's just a clone. But yeah,
If anybody got that father,
Father Ho.
if daddy issues, if anybody got that faster than Chad, I will be very surprised. But I would like to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have someone could have gotten it right away. I tried to let you finish, then I was like, who was that other bounty hunter with Boba? And then I was like, wait, in the Clone Wars, Boba really only had one goal of revenge, and that was against Mace. So I overthought it for a second and couldn't remember who that other person was.
As soon as Marty sent it to me, and it was a Star Wars question, I was like, "Fuck, Chad's gonna get this." If you want to,
what was the other bounty hunter's name besides Boba? Was it, you said Bosk?
The one that I couldn't pronounce was, hold on. Oh shit, I closed it out. Hold on.
Bosk or Rosk?
So there's it says Bosk, spelled Bossk.
Oh, that's the lizard guy.
Oh, okay. Aura Singh, spelled Aurrasing, and Boba Fett, obviously.
Yeah. Bosk.
So yeah, good job.
Woo!
I think.
Would you say that was well balanced and spicy?
I was just gonna say, I think before we have a shit ton of nerd news that we're gonna get into here, and before we do, we are gonna share our spicy content. The link is in the bio.
You know what to do.
No, we are gonna talk about real quick our sponsor, which is Crybaby Craig's hot sauce. It's a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes on practically anything. Listen up, we'll tell you more about it.
I mean, all seriousness, link to that spicy content is in the bio.
It is.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today. Okay, everyone. Now we are going to talk about a whole bunch of nerd news, rumors, speculations, and then we're going to end on a much-needed rant that might seem a little bit more out of character from us than what is normal, but it's needed. So
I don't think so.
Hold tight.
I think it's pretty in character.
But how much we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
At least in my opinion. But first and foremost, we got some gameplay snippets as well as a trailer for the new Indiana Jones game coming out. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I think it's being made by Bethesda, which
I imagine this is going to be like a Tomb Raider type of game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, where you have to figure shit out and puzzly and stuff like that.
I literally saw an article, since you said that, I saw an article of people speculating why this one is in first person instead of the third person, is so that it does not seem too much like Tomb Raider and Uncharted. So that it sets itself different from the two other games that do this thing.
Different.
Yeah.
Still, I think it'd be cool. I love Indiana Jones. I love Tomb Raider, and I haven't played Uncharted, but I want to.
I played the first one and it got weird towards the end.
Yeah?
Um, yeah, at the very end of it, there was a bunch of zombies. I was like, what the hell? This makes no sense compared to how the rest of this game was going.
That is weird.
Yeah, but it
Huh.
was before they kind of like revamped it. Like it was the original. Still very weird. Um, but other than that, I loved it. What is really cool about this Indiana Jones game, though, is that good old Troy Baker is going to be the one voicing
Good
Indy.
old Troy Baker.
Those of you who don't recognize that name, that is who voices Joel in The Last of Us. He also does have a small part in the live action The Last of Us TV series. And
He's one of the cannibals.
he mhm.
He's one of the cannibals.
he very much
He's
was.
the he's the one cannibal that well, so they a lot of the people didn't know. All the people there in The Last of Us in this show didn't know that they were eating human meat. But he was one of the few that knew he was eating human meat, and he was like reluctant, but also still willingly eating human meat. So
Yeah.
it was that guy. Um, in different news, we have a little bit of rumors, also like actual things that we know about the new movie coming out from Sony that's probably also gonna flop. But
Straight fuckery.
the Madam Web movie, um, this is like I don't want to talk too much shit about it just because I feel bad, but it's like making fun of like a kid that's already crying on the playground. Like you kind of feel bad, and it's like, do I still keep making fun of him? No. Um, from a bully's perspective, not mine. Um,
Yeah, of course. Hypothetical.
they I was the crying kid on the playground.
Same.
Uh,
It's weird.
so it's supposed to be set in 2003, and it's supposed to be its standalone universe, which technically they can do because Madam Web deals with different timelines and blah 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 blah. It's
Like
kind of
the
like,
Spider Verse.
yeah, what?
Oh.
Um, I just I'm struggling with this one. I sometimes there's like a movie that we're not hyped about, and they release the trailer, and we're like, okay, like
Maybe.
I wasn't hyped about it, but the trailer looks dope. That is not the case here. I was not hyped about this movie. We were not hyped about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer dropped, and we were both texted each other like immediately, and we're like, "Oh, this looks so bad." Uh, oh, I did it anyway. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's nothing, not one moment of this trailer has me hyped or intrigued or anything, unless it was like rated R for
Like
some reason.
violence,
Mm.
blood, gore, something else. Wink, wink. Um,
Dakota Johnson, but you can just watch a different movie for that.
yeah. Um, but also,
Sydney
what's
Sweeney, Euphoria.
I heard you.
Adam
I was
Adam Scott. Just kidding. Sorry. What?
just ask nicely. I'm sure he'd appreciate the attention. Um, sorry, I love Adam Scott, but what blows my mind about this? I'm sorry.
That's funnier than I expected it to be. Woo. Oh, Adam. You
He's
know what helps with
stupid.
needing attention?
If you lick my butthole. Hey, Derek. Um, no. But also, what's weird is that this is set in 2003. Adam Scott is supposed to be playing a young Ben Parker. So there's not a Spider Man yet. We know it can't be Tom Holland, who canonically was born in 2001. Can't be Tobey Maguire, because around 2003, he would already have been Spider Man, according to the Sam Raimi verse. But Ben Parker is still alive, and he's young. So, like, what is Sony doing with their
It
timeline?
could, but it could. They could.
Multiverse?
Technically, they could. Um, I think any actual Spider-Man, past, future, or present, would be wasted on this movie. Like,
But
please don't.
that takes me to my next point is that uh, this the stunt coordinator or stunt actor, stunt double, however you want to refer to them, that has worked with Tobey Maguire for years, especially on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, was seen and spotted on set in Manhattan for Madam Web reshoots. Also, like, I know we spent a lot of time on this one movie that we're not thrilled about, but like it needs like a rolled up newspaper smacked on its nose. Sony is like, let's do an all female Spider Person Madam Web
Nothing,
story.
nothing wrong with that.
Sounds awesome. It already looks to be in trouble. It already looks to be poorly written. The dialogue, even in the trailer, is atrocious.
They've already done reshoots because it got received poorly.
And the movie's supposed to come out in just like a month from now, and they're still doing reshoots. That's alarming. But on top of that, the rumor is for the final showdown that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is going to show up to save all of the Spider Women and Madam Web, all the Spider Girls, Spider People. I don't remember exactly who each individual actress's Spider Person coordinates to in their names. So not only is Sony being like, let's have a Spider female driven
But
story.
they need
Cool.
a man to save them.
Yeah, and then at the last minute, let's bring in Spider-Man to save all the Spider ladies, cause feminism. Like, Sony, fucking stop, stop. Just let Marvel have their fucking characters. Let them do it right. You can co-produce. I don't give a shit. You can, whatever. Just stop trying to do your own thing. It's not working.
It hasn't worked.
The
Other than-
Sony universe of
other than-
Spider-Man characters, which is their official
s-
name.
Only Spider-Man characters that Sony have put out that is amazing, no pun intended, is the Into the Spider-Verse trilogy.
Yeah,
Those are so good. But everything, Morbius, trash.
it's Morbin time.
Venom 1, 2, and presumably 3, trash. Craven, I am going to go out on a limb here, trash. Madam Web, give you a hint, trash.
Straight to jail.
Stop it.
Straight to trash.
Like you said, newspaper, stop it. And now,
And
the scary part is,
I
is
would
that now
love for
they,
these to be good.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah. I would, if there was like somebody that wasn't writing all of these, somebody else writing them but better, I would be all about this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I meant that as like a joke, but also seriously. Like I want a standalone Venom movie. I was so stoked when I saw the trailer for that, and it was such a letdown for me. And then you and I saw the second one in theaters. Boy, when we walked out of there, it was the energy between you and I about that movie was sad.
we didn't talk for like 15 minutes. We walked down the streets of New York City in silence.
Yeah, it was bad. It was so bad. Morbius, I will say here I'll say this about Morbius and Venom. They looked fucking cool.
Yeah,
The rest of it was hot
garbage.
trash. Hot trash.
I think that's how the MCU gets away with the lackluster special effects in a lot of their stuff,
Mm,
is because it's at least a continuing story, and for the most part, everything is pretty well written.
yeah.
At least not consistently poorly written.
I hope we're wrong.
I would
And
love
we
to be wrong.
and I will humble myself the after we watch the movie and be like, holy shit, that movie was fucking dope. I was wrong. Blah blah blah. I hope that's what happens. I historically it's not likely.
We tend to be our
And
gut instinct tends to.
I'll go into the movie with an open mind. Like I'm not gonna go in there and be like, this movie's gonna suck. I know it's gonna suck. I'm not giving it a chance. I will go in there hopeful.
Yeah.
For sure. I always do. I grew up reading comic books. I love them. It was my life. I had shoeboxes full of comic books under my bed. I love and I knew which comic was where under my bed, like in which box, like if I wanted to read that one, whatever. Anyway, point being, like I'm a huge fan and I'm so happy to live in a time where all of these movies are thriving. I just want this one little corner of superhero movies to just do a little better. And by a little better, I mean a lot better.
Yeah. I could talk about this for way longer, but we've
I know,
talked
I'm
about
sorry.
it a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah.
Oh no, I think I went off first. But let's talk about the next thing, which is kind of a first glimpse. And my autocorrect, so don't judge how I spelt that. Autocorrect happened. Because I'm looking at it
just
right now
noticed
as
it.
I noticed.
I was like, son of a bitch, what is that? Oh, that's funny. I won't embarrass you. Move on.
But the first look.
Yeah.
Are we not going to talk about that?
No, we are. I said I wasn't going to embarrass you about how you spelled that one thing. And I said, so move on to the next thing, which is...
Well, we didn't even talk about it. We got our first look at Slimer for
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
What are you talking about? Are you look at the one above it? Toby. Last name.
McGuire? It just
Look
did,
how it's...
I don't know. How do you
Are you-
spell Toby Maguire? That's what my autocorrect did.
Maguire. Toby Maguire. Your autocorrect spelled it Maquires. Maguire with a G, bud.
Okay.
That's even funnier because you were talking about how you spelled Slimer just without the R, and then you doubled down about the Toby Maguire. I do love you though.
That's how the baseball player spelt it.
Oh, how about the actual guy though? How does he spell it?
It's not pulling up because I typed in how I spelt it and he was not there.
Oh, bud.
Wow. No Irish influence on that one at all. Just Maguire. Okay,
That's
cool.
how I would have spelled it.
It's fine. Just mahalo. Let's talk about. I'd already brought that up. I don't know how you were still stuck on that.
Because I thought you were talking. You said that you were like my Whatever. Move on. You were like, you were like my autocorrect, and I thought you were talking about how you spelled Tobey Maguire, and then you were like, yeah, Slimer, and I was like, wait, what? You're not talking about how you spelled Tobey Maguire, but you also spelled Slimer, just slime.
That was the autocorrect part again.
So the other part was just dumb.
Well, Mark McGuire is MACQ.
Did he play Spider-Man?
No, but that was the baseball
Oh,
player.
okay. Yeah, that didn't play Spider-Man.
Just talk about fucking anything. I can't do this right now. Not having a good time.
Oh man, sorry. Tom Cruise signed a big contract with WB, which is dope. We don't know what movies or characters he's gonna play, but there are some hopeful ideas. There's obviously the back burner that's been happening for a while, where he could play an aged out Hal Jordan, um, Green Lantern. For those of you who don't know, but I'm hopeful for not that. I wanted that probably about a year ago before Schneiderverse was dead. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but now I think I would want to see him play a villain. And the one that I chose would be Black Mask, which is who Ewan McGregor played in Birds of Prey. Um, Not the best movie, but uh, I think Tom Cruise plays a very, very good villain, and he hasn't done it in a while, and I really
Especially
like
like
to
a
see it.
sociopathic,
Yeah.
like not just full on crazy, like violence hungry, just
Hmm.
someone that's just a little off.
Like, yeah, and like
So like
meticulous and shit.
Black
Yeah,
Mask would be the second you said that when we were talking off camera, I was like 100%. That's a fantastic.
yeah. I think that'd be
Um,
really cool. But who knows? We don't know. I mean,
yeah.
it's a huge contract, and it's
And it's just
for
for Warner Brothers in general. It's
yeah, yeah,
not DC specific.
yeah.
So who knows?
Who knows? I know that there's talk about him playing. Oh shit, what was it? It was he no, not talk about. It's actually happening, but I don't know who the director was. But it was the director of. Actually, I do. It was the director of the Mission Impossible movies, that wants to make a movie with Tom Cruise, but he wants to take Tom Cruise
To
out of
space.
that action
Oh,
like
not that one.
comfort zone that he's in and make it like I don't know if it's gonna be like a serial killer or something, but he wants to make it like Tom Cruise like a sociopath of some kind, and
I
like
remember you sent me that.
yeah,
It was an
I I want to see that.
article.
I,
Yeah,
I I love Tom Cruise. I love Tom Cruise action movies. Love the Mission Impossible
yeah.
franchise, but I haven't seen Tom Cruise in kind of a while in something that does take him out of that comfort zone. You know what I mean? It's like Maverick, the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah,
It's like The Mummy. You know what I mean? Like it was
yeah,
all action,
yeah. Because
you know.
wasn't I think it was supposed to be like something super gory, not
Yeah.
quite horror, but kind of like on that thriller aspect where it's not
Hmm.
just like go 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 action,
Yeah.
like a psychological thriller.
Yeah. I want to see that. I haven't
I
seen
would
that from Tom
love
Cruise in a
that.
long time. Yeah. So, fucking cool, but we'll see what it ends up being. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of circling back to the Sony Spider verse of Spiderlings, um, there are rumors that we're gonna get some sort of Spider-Man in Venom 3, and the director and producer keep kind of hinting by showing like pictures of the logo where the three behind Venom is that very Spider-Man red with kind of like webbing going through it, and be like, could it be an amazing sort of film, like that they're hinting
Well,
heavily.
the director has been using the word amazing a lot in interviews and stuff like that, and it's like,
Yeah, which would hint at Andrew Garfield, who played the amazing Spider-Man, being the Spider-Man of that universe.
which because
So
I
bittersweet.
wouldn't be Holland, so they left at the end of
No Way Home.
No Way Home. They show that the symbiote got left far from home. Uh, uh, but there's a piece after Tom Hardy's Venom gets yeeted back to wherever. There's a small piece of symbiote left
The
behind,
Sony lot.
which means that we'll get Venom hopefully in a better way through the MCU. But they do need a Spider-Man for Venom 3 potentially because Tom Hardy said that this is the last Venom movie that he's doing. So are we going to get Andrew Garfield or are we going to get Tom Holland? Because we also know that Sony has said that the Spider-Man 4 movie is going to tie the Sony universe and the MCU together. They also said that, like 4 years ago, and we got like an end credit scene. So, I don't fucking know what they're doing. Who knows? Do you know?
Yes. Um,
Do
and
tell.
I know what they're doing. Well, I know what they're thinking while they're trying to do it. And what they're trying to do is they're thinking to themselves, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I definitely intentionally wasted time just to make that terrible joke.
Elliot Reed. What are you doing now? If you know, you know. I want to see more Andrew. I love Tom Holland. I love Tobey Maguire, especially as Spider-Man, but I've been very vocal about Andrew Garfield being my favorite Spider-Man and also my favorite man. Um,
You
Invincible
learn to
2,
deal with it. It hurts, but I accept it.
you don't agree or you do?
No, just that I'm not your favorite man. I know. There's
Andrew
a handful
Garfield.
of. Yeah.
I didn't even know that I had a man crush on Andrew Garfield until I started watching Andrew Garfield movies with my girlfriend, and she's like, "Are you crushing on him?" And I'm like, "Son of a bitch." Yeah.
I guess
I guess I
so.
am. I guess I am. Don't you dare shame me. Go, go ahead.
Well, so probably by the time we're supposed to find out on Tuesday of this week, which means that by the time you hear this episode, we should know, and then we'll
No
post something about it.
specifics. They didn't specifically say what day. They just said next week. But usually it's like a
Oh,
Monday or Tuesday.
I had seen something that by
Oh, you did.
Tuesday. Yeah, I just
Gotcha.
we'd both
Didn't
talked
say
about
that
it.
when
Sorry,
we talked about it.
my bad.
Well, let's go fuck myself.
Mahalo. But that we should know by the time this episode comes out, but we don't know it yet at the time of recording, that the release date for season 2 part 2 of Invincible should be announced. It better be fucking soon. This is just as a fan being like, I need it.
Give us more. That was
Give it back.
a big send off on the part 1 finale.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, more, please. And they're like, yeah, we'll let you know eventually. It's like, dude, stop.
And it's been a couple of months already. Just like, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Please.
Also, I'm just gonna do the next one, and you can. Cool.
You do you, bud.
Supposedly, the first running of filming for Ironheart has wrapped. So it's heading to post-production and then, reshoots from there if they need it. But that's pretty exciting because I'm ready to see some more Riri Williams in the MCU.
I'm ready to see some more Justin Hammer in the MCU. I know you're not supposed to root for the bad guys, but once in a
Sam
while I
Rockwell.
do. But once in a while I do, and I fucking love Sam Rockwell. And Justin, if you don't know who that is, he played the bad guy, not the fuck's his name?
Whiplash,
Mickey, not
Mickey
not Mickey
Rourke.
Rourke. But the
It's hard to
guy
get those
behind the
two
scenes.
confused.
They look so much alike.
Yeah.
No, I actually almost said Ving Rhames, and I was like, that's not right. I know who Ving Rhames is. Uh, I know, right? He was the guy who hires, or kind of hires, imprisons Mickey Rourke's character,
Yeah.
Whiplash.
Ivan Vanko.
Whiplash. And I fucking love him as Justin Hammer. And he says as he's getting arrested to Pepper, he's like, "Oh, you're making a big mistake. You're gonna see me again." And he's like, "Real soon." So
And then it's been a decade.
I'm wanting to see him back. I love Sam Rockwell.
I do too.
He's like probably like top 10. I only say top 10 because I have so many favorite actors, but he's somewhere in there, probably on the closer side of top 5 favorite actors of all time. He's up there for me.
Yeah. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the shit. And I want to see more of him. And hopefully.
I mean, Ironheart and Armor Wars, he's supposed to be a big part of, so.
Mm-hmm. So. Fingers crossed. Okay, well, this is a rumor, but it's probably pretty accurate. There's been a lot of hype about this since the announcement of it. And where would you give that hype? It's due would be the Super Bowl. Deadpool 3. Yeah, I got there eventually. Sorry. Deadpool 3. Rumored that the trailer is gonna drop during the Super Bowl. There is even a leaked image from this said trailer, which also could be fake or a rumor. I did share it with Chad before this. And it shows Deadpool with a chain wrapped around his forearm, but the chain is on fire. And this could only mean one thing to us, and that is
Ghost Rider.
Which Ghost Rider would it be? I don't know. Which Ghost Rider do you want it to be?
Oh. Do I go
I'm
first?
asking you. Yeah, I'm asking you.
Okay, so first and foremost, the Ghost Rider that I want it to be is... Let's start with character, and then I'll tell you who I think should play them. Because there's been multiple Ghost Riders. I want it to be the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. Because I think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. needs a good send-off.
Well, they also, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I won't impede on what you're saying, I promise.
Yeah.
But in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they did confirm that the passing of the torch from Ghost Rider to Robbie Reyes was, even though they don't show his face, the Nicolas Cage... Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
Passing the torch onto Robbie Reyes. So they kind of tied that into a bow and sent it. So...
And also, during the show, for those that don't know, Robbie Reyes kind of... They create a portal through the help of the Darkhold to be able to transfer through dimensions. Mm-hmm. We know that the Darkhold has already been used in the MCU.
We also talked about this a while back on the podcast.
So it would allow for Robbie Reyes to end up somewhere adjacent to the MCU. Mm-hmm. And I think that if we're going to use Robbie Reyes, especially if this is going to be like a one and done send off for this variant until they decide to reintroduce a Ghost Rider in the future. If it's going to be Robbie Reyes, you have to use Gabriel Luna.
Agreed.
Like, I don't know. He played the part so well. Plus, also, he's gotten a little bit more recognition more recently from, like, The Last of Us.
You're the one who told me that. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
He's like unrecognizable until you know.
Yeah, because he's got more facial hair. He's got really long hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let it be Robbie Reyes. That would just make me happy.
I think it's gonna be Nicolas Cage. Just because they're bringing back all of the OGs.
I mean, that does make sense, and I'm not mad about it. I just
yeah.
wish.
But I feel like kind of what they're doing with this like timeline bullshit is they're giving us like a past, present, and future. Because we know, do we know? I don't know. We've said it a million times that this is Hugh Jackman's last performance as Wolverine. But we also know that they're rebooting the X-Men franchise in the MCU. So this is kind of a send-off to some of those original characters and getting introduced to new characters that are going to carry on that torch of, or carry that mantle of those title characters. So maybe we see Nicolas Cage and then get introduced to the future of Ghost Rider in this movie. Or maybe there is no Nicolas Cage and we only get introduced to the future of this Ghost Rider, which would not be Gabriel Luna. And who do you want to play that character?
Well, if it's not going to be Robbie Reyes, I like the idea of Ryan Gosling. I know a lot of people are all, oh, what about Keanu Reeves or Norman Reedus? And it's like, I don't think so. I don't think that's.
I just think they're not in a mean way because, like, get it, boss. Like, get it, Kings. I love you guys. Both those actors. But maybe a little aged out to start like a 10+ year franchise. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. We talked about it off camera that I think Ryan Gosling is probably my top choice.
Yeah.
I just and I wouldn't have ever thought that up until the trailer for his new movie coming out where he plays a stunt double or whatever.
Oh yeah.
What's the name of the movie? Do you know the name of the movie?
I can look it up while you talk about it.
Yeah. Johnny Blaze is a stunt devil. I said it right. A stunt devil in the comics who makes a deal with the devil, and so I think the trailer for this movie kind of like pushed me in that direction. I was like, okay, I can see it. He's always like so clean cut and blah blah blah.
Fall Guy.
And like, what is it?
The Fall Guy.
The Fall Guy. Yeah. Yeah, he's always so clean cut and everything. He's got that blonde, like, I mean, he played Ken for crying out loud, So, like, it takes seeing him as, like, a rugged, like, dude for you to be like, okay, I can see that. So I think he would make an awesome Ghost Rider. And he's young enough that he could stick around for a while. But I don't know.
What about if they were to go with a Robbie Reyes?
I think Gabriel Luna. I would like to see him come back.
I would too, but what about someone younger?
Someone younger?
Yeah.
How much younger? Because I'm kind of liking that.
Like in their 20s?
I like that Sholo kid.
That's exactly who I was. Especially because of the way that, first off, Blue Beetle was super enjoyable.
I liked Blue Beetle.
But only for them to be like, none of this matters. We're gonna start over. I was like, you got this dude like hyped up.
Yeah.
He's witty. he can fight, like can handle a fair amount, as we saw, from Cobra Kai.
Just for context, we didn't talk about that off of camera. So
No,
that's funny that we were in the same spot there.
I
Yeah.
think that he could. I mean, if you were to do a much younger, like Robbie Reyes, like
Yeah.
23, his younger brother is still in high school, that
Right.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Be super
Yeah.
awesome.
I'd be all about that for sure. Yeah. I like that kid. Um, oh shit. Okay, yeah. I was like, what's next? Well, yeah, and if any of you have any uh any thoughts on this, like let us know. Text us or whatever, like email us or leave comments. We want to see what
Yeah, who are
you
your fan
what you
casts?
yeah, what do you think? Do you think who we mentioned would make it good or bad? Like tell us why. Like and we'll share it on the next one if any of you do. Um but yeah, The Boys? The Boys season 4 set for June 13th release date. There's a trailer out. It is dope and scary, and we've talked about how it's going to go hand in hand with Gen V.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did you notice in the trailer, Newman's daughter? Remember at the end of well, the last season of The Boys, Newman is
Yeah,
giving her daughter
yeah,
the cure or whatever for whatever.
yeah. The
Um,
the compound
they
V or whatever.
Yeah, they show her daughter in the trailer, and she's got like she looks like a fucking demon, and she's got like tentacles coming out of her mouth.
That was supposed to be her daughter.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Newman's daughter. Yeah, so because it was supposed to be the cure for the because she was trying to cure her daughter of that because she suscepted her to it younger, realized that it was a mistake, and then was trying to cure her from the whatever
yeah.
uh compound V. So she was giving her the cure for it, which I think is going to amplify her mutation or whatever you want to call it, uh, further into being a psycho crazy chick.
Hell yeah, radness.
Yeah. All right, you do it.
So, if you couldn't tell, that we were kind of rambling on and on about some things for this portion, and it was really because of the last thing that we really wanted to talk about before we close out this episode. We make comments here and there about like our political leanings. Sometimes it's not subtle, but we try really hard not to get on a super political stance. But because of the subject matter and the people involved in this, having ties to a very nerdy content matter, and just us being frustrated with seeing so much of this bigoted bullshit out in the world, we feel like we need to talk about it. The premise of this is the Israeli and Palestinian, not even Palestinian, just the Gaza Strip, the genocide that is going on and unfortunately has been plaguing so much for so long. I don't even know how to go from here.
Well, let's go like this. Um, we talked about this before on this podcast about Noah Schnapp making comments about Zionism being sexy, and we bitched about it on this podcast, saying that we thought it was fucked up. Like, fuck this kid. How is he still part of Stranger Things 5? Um, and then another actor from Stranger Things, his name is Brett Gelman or Gelman. It's spelled Gelman. Backed up Noah by saying Zionism is sexy. I don't know why anyone's questioning that. And
And that was after Noah was forced
yeah,
to make just a public apology, not heartfelt, not anything. Didn't get punished, didn't get dropped, nothing happened to Noah except for getting some much deserved frustration, and I don't want to use the word hate because then that makes me
Backlash.
sound anti-Semitic. Backlash. Absolutely. Anyone who thinks that a political, moral, any sort of religious belief that also encourages genocide, you're wrong.
And you can fucking unfollow us and not come back here ever.
Just knock it off.
Yeah. I don't care if you're a friend or family. Like, go fuck yourself.
This is disgusting. And it's such a double standard. Because this actor, Noah Schnapp, Brett Gelman, countless corporations and other individuals that are in support of one side, Israel.
Yeah.
Who are doing the worst shit possible. Things that would make the God that they're claiming are defending them make their blood boil. Whatever. Whether you believe in God, whatever. It's slaughter. It's systematic slaughter.
Genocide. It's genocide.
Bullshit.
They're wiping out an entire race of people. It's genocide. I've said this on this podcast before, my grandfather fought in World War II to stop shit like this. People, you think that I'm at like a loss for words if you think that the people that built this country and like not built this country, but the people like in World War II that like fought for this country and for freedom and to uphold what your government like says, like freedom of speech, freedom of religion. That's something that's in there. Freedom of religion, you dumb fucks. It's part of it. Those people that are like dead now, none of my grandparents are alive anymore. Those people fought for people that are unable to fight for themselves to have those freedoms, not just in this country, but other countries around the world. We didn't have to go to Germany. We weren't a part of that war. We intervened. Okay, like those people that died, they die in vain because of you guys. The people that say that this kind of shit is okay, like your grandparents, your parents, if you're older than us, they died in vain because you're fucking retarded. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I'm so sorry to use that word because whatever, but fuck you. Like, my grandfather would fucking roll over in his grave if he could see. And my grandfather is on my mom's side. He's white. And that dude would roll over in his grave and be ashamed of this country being in support of Israel rather than innocent children and people, men and women, getting wiped out. I'm sorry I steamrolled that for a minute, but
no, it's totally fine. And like we normally don't do this.
We don't
on this podcast, but
this would be like 9/11 happening and us being like, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah,
we have to talk about it.
If it's one thing if you are of the Jewish belief and you support your fellow Jewish individuals. But like what the government is doing is just atrocious. Israel was not a part of the United Nations at the founding because Israel did not stand as an individual nation until a few years after the United Nations were formed. And then for them to defy things set up by the United Nations and the Geneva Convention and everything like that for this atrocious act over a dispute of land slightly larger than Manhattan is mind boggling. And then for so much of the world to be like, yeah, we support that. And then the people that stand up in defiance of supporting that, the people that are like, hey, what about the Gaza Strip and Palestinians and the people that don't have any way to defend themselves or to take care of the innocent people. And those are the people that are targeted by the media. But then when someone like Noah Schnapp or Brett Gelman say Zionism is sexy and they're met with thunderous applause of random people that don't know what the fuck is going on, it's heartbreaking. I struggled to even say things logically because I'm so worked up about this. Like, this is absolutely terrible.
And it makes me probably not gonna support season 5 of Stranger Things. I probably won't watch it.
I'm definitely not going to watch it during the first month, where those numbers are going to count.
Yeah.
And my VPN is turned off, but take it, NSA. I'm probably going to pirate season 5. Even though I'll be paying for Netflix at the same time, so probably won't do that. Sorry, NSA. I was just kidding.
It's a bummer. I wish I had looked up a list of people that are in support of Israel, but I know like Deborah Messing. We talked about Melissa Barrera losing her job over this. So it's not like new news from us that we are siding with,
haven't dove in deeper.
Because that's not what this podcast is about. But like I said, it would be like 9/11 happening, and then us being like, well, that happened, but we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, but did you see what Spider-Man did this week?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just something that needs to be said. This isn't something that we're going to talk about regularly on this podcast. We just felt like something needed to be said, especially if you're a fan of us or if you align politically with us. This is something that if you didn't know, now you know. Cast of that show, not all of them, but a couple of them, really suck dicks at being famous, and that sucks.
Or being decent humans.
Yeah, but famous people have platforms, and they
exactly.
use your platform to be a piece of shit, then fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't let your... I think it's pretty easy for us to say because neither of us are, if you haven't guessed yet, particularly religious individuals. It's very easy to not let your morals be driven by some religious standpoint. So just be a good person. Don't let some old book tell you what should and shouldn't be done. Or
a new book.
Or a newer... Yeah, don't let part 2...
maybe don't let a book
tell you how to be a good person. Like,
yeah.
I can't keep talking about this. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Otherwise, this will no longer be the All Things Nerd podcast. It'll be the All Things Canceled
kind of our
Political
last
Asshole
topic
podcast.
There. We're gonna close this episode out. Yeah, we love you guys. We love you people.
Yeah.
No matter what, just don't be a piece of shit. And if you are a piece of shit, just don't follow us, please.
Yeah. We got a few more things to talk about before we close out.
All right, before we close out this episode, we are going to talk about our honorable mentions. Chad, what do you have?
So, finished watching Reacher season
Hmm.
2, which was really, really enjoyable. I've been making my way through The Expanse. I'm almost done with season
Downtown?
2. Yeah, I'm walking fast. In The Expanse goes now. No, 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 no. But the one that I watched the 1998 Godzilla film with Matthew Broderick and a whole bunch of no one else. Um, there's really not a lot of big names in that. I always forget the guy's name. He was in the first Mission Impossible. He was in Leon with Natalie Portman. He always kind of plays French kind of military esque guy.
Yeah. Matthew Broderick, Maria Patillo, oh, uh, Jean Reno. Hank Azaria was in that? What? That's a big name.
Who is Hank Azaria?
Hank Azaria? Dude, he does like half the voices in The Simpsons. He's also in
Oh,
Along Came Polly.
plays an animal, right?
Huh?
In Godzilla, is that animal?
Victor Animal. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did forget about that. But anyways, like growing up, I loved this movie. Haven't watched it since probably I was in 7th or 8th grade. Um, but I rewatched it, and good God, this movie was so bad. Uh, it was. I think that the reason that I love this movie so much was because when it came out, I was a huge fan of like the original Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park: The Lost World, and this very much had that vibe, but
Yeah.
tried to resemble a little bit of Godzilla, but it was quite terrible.
Apparently, Puff Daddy was in that movie.
He did. He produced most of the soundtrack. I don't think he's actually in it.
Oh. And then the only other one that surprised me was Nancy Cartwright. Uh, she does the voice for Bart Simpson on The Simpsons. Is in
Who
that.
is she in that in the film though?
It says Cayman's secretary.
Oh, she. Yeah, her secretary or his secretary is only in like 2 or 3 scenes.
Still weird. Hank Azaria and Nancy Cartwright both in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, cool.
What about you? What have you
Sorry,
watched?
I'm like dissecting the movie you watched. Like, who is in that?
As I'm talking about, I'm like, I really forgot how much this movie was not good, and you're like, yeah, but this
It
person,
wasn't. It wasn't a good
it was
movie. It was when
terrible.
we were kids. It was awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah, it
because
wasn't
it felt
really.
like it could fit with the Jurassic Park
Yeah.
sequels, but
Especially like Jurassic Park 2 when the T-Rex gets loose in New York City or whatever city they're
yeah.
in. Yeah. Um, I think I watched it maybe like 5 years ago, and I was also like, "Whoa, this is not as great as I thought it was."
The
Um,
only thing that I remembered being as enjoyable is when they're trying to like sneak past the military like blockade. So all the French people are like chewing gum because it thinks that they make them look more American. And
mhm.
then who's the guy's name that plays Leon and the French guy?
Felipe Roche.
Yeah, but the actor's name.
Sorry. Jean Reno. I think it's Jean Reno, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
So
he's like, yeah.
Jean
Yeah.
Reno. Um, and then he does like an Elvis impersonation, and then they get through the blockade, and he looks over at Matthew Broderick, who's like, "How did you just pull that off?" And he's like, "Elvis Presley movies, they always work." And then Matthew Broderick kind of like laughs, but when he like looks to the side, like his side profile just reminds me of my cousin. It's
Oh,
like a weird thing that just makes me think of my cousin. And that's it.
right on.
Yeah, like no significance to the movie, but that alone was like I remember why this felt nostalgic to me because I just yeah. What did you watch this week? Because we spent a lot of time talking about nonsense, especially the 1998 Godzilla with a Puff Daddy slash Led Zeppelin remix.
Well, I've been rewatching Moon Knight, which has been a lot of fun because I've only watched it the one time. So I've been rewatching it. I am on episode like five or six right now. And I forgot how much I really enjoyed that show. I also am surprised at myself for not realizing how much, or I guess I'm reminded how much I really admire Oscar Isaac for his portrayal of two different people with two different storylines and two different accents played by the same person. I think it's really cool. Um, yeah, that show definitely pushed him to like a top tier actor for me. Um,
Mhm.
I also watched you didn't write any of my stuff down. Sweet. Oh yeah, you
Yes,
did.
I did.
Uh you did. I rewatched The Marvels, which was cool. Still back that movie as very enjoyable, even though it did not do great in the box office. And then what was my other
Self
one?
Reliance.
Oh, Self-Reliance. Yeah. Jake Johnson and Andy Samberg's movie that they wrote and produced. Um, Jake Johnson plays Nick Miller on New Girl. If anybody doesn't know that, is Andy Samberg, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, blah blah blah. Um, the movie is really fucking cool. I won't go too much into it, but it's about a guy who uh agrees to be hunted by people that are trying to kill him for 40 days. And if he can survive those 40 days, they'll give him $1 million. And nobody believes him. So his like friends and family like will not help him because they think he's just being a fucking like deranged piece of shit. All while people are actively trying to kill him throughout the movie. It's very funny. It's a very like dry humor, which is kind of just right up Jake Johnson's like alley, for the shit that he's in. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I hope that people that listen to this will watch it. I definitely sell this movie. It's fucking hilarious and gritty and kind of fucked up. Uh, Anna Kendrick is also in it. Andy Samberg, Wayne Brady, Christopher Lloyd. I don't know her name off the top of my head, but the girl who plays Stevie in Schitt's Creek. Uh, I
Oh,
will
I
look it
should
up.
know that too. Because
Yeah,
as we were talking about this the other day, I looked it up because I unfortunately never remember her name.
her name is where is she? Emily Hampshire.
Ah,
Hampshire. I'm sure it's pronounced Hampshire, but it's spelled Hampshire. Um,
like the
yes.
state that is new.
It is you're an idiot. Uh
Suck it.
yeah, please go watch this movie. It is fucking funny, dude. If you don't like it, you and I have to have words cuz my I watched it with Nicole and I was dying the whole movie and she was not. There were like parts that she thought was funny, but I thought the whole movie was funny and there were parts where I was like laughing hysterically and she was like, and I'm like, "What? It's funny." I'm like, "It's
She's
funny."
like, but is it though?
So,
Yes.
that's what I got.
Well, awesome. Well, for those of you that have stuck out through all of our nerd news, our honorable mentions, everything like that, we want to say thank you first and foremost. If you want to support this podcast, the best way to do it is to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. If you do want to become a premium subscriber, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd. It's a monthly subscription, so it does unfortunately mean that we will be asking for you to give us your money. But it gives you some behind the scenes, some bonus content, things like that, as well as to member exclusive merch and everything like that. It's pretty sweet. Also, check out our new website and web store over at www.allthingsnerdpod.com. Thank you to Marty over at Digicat Tech for hooking us up with an upgraded website that looks a lot better than what we had before. Also, if you like other nerd stuff, especially games, check out Kobolds in the Basement podcast. It's a live play Dungeons and Dragons podcast that is currently, for our first campaign, hosted by yours truly, Chad. Yeah, that's about it. We love you all. We hope that you enjoy this, and we are thankful. So cheers. This has been the All Things Nerd podcast.